Hello and welcome to the Weather Hazard Briefing presented by National Weather Service Pocatello for Monday, April 7th. Here's what you'll see in this presentation. We'll have warm temperatures today, but there is rain and snow that will move in during the afternoon, continue overnight, and continue actually through late Tuesday night. We are looking for some measurable snow, but it will stay above 8,000 foot elevation or overpasses if you're headed into Montana. It's mostly light accumulation unless you're above around 9,000 feet elevation, where light accumulation would be 6 inches or less. And like I said, it lasts through late Tuesday night. We expect it to be very windy in the Snake River Plain on both Tuesday and Wednesday, mostly during the day, especially in the afternoon and into the evening hours. This does mean there is a potential for some wind advisories in the Snake River Plain and some hazardous blowing dust, which may lead to a blowing dust advisory if these winds pan out. So stay tuned. Nothing is in effect at this time, but maybe later tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. We expect to be much cooler on Tuesday, and then its warming returns for Wednesday and continues at least through Friday, when we will be hitting the upper 70s, maybe even some low 80s by Friday. Start off with a satellite image. Here's the storm that's coming in. As you can see, it's going to be a few hours before it really gets started, so it'll go all the way through the morning hours, and finally the afternoon it'll start hitting in places like Custer County, Lemhi County, and places to the south of that area, and then will spread during the evening hours eastward. So this is what we're looking for: evening rain showers for a lot of locations, or at least a lot of it is in the afternoon and maybe in the morning, but more likely again in the afternoon. Lost River, Wood River, and Sawtooth all looking at rain and snow. Again, it will depend on the elevation. Same for Lemhi County. And then on Tuesday, the rain showers do continue for the most part, except for the Magic Valley. It sort of does dry out there, but everywhere else there's at least a chance of rain showers and snow showers, and it will become windy, very windy in the Snake River Plain. Those strong winds continue for Wednesday, although for a less amount of time in the afternoon. And so they're generally a little bit weaker, but still probably very windy. It'll be windy in most of the other locations, especially on ridges. And if snow showers continue anywhere, it would be the eastern highlands. And Thursday and Friday should be beautiful, warm, bordering on hot for this time of year, as again we approach some lower 80s in the Snake River Plain or Magic Valley, or in some of these lower elevations of the South Hills. So here's what's going on today. You can see the rain here at the lower elevations, and rain and snow in the highlands and in the central Idaho mountains. From this low right here, this is where it'll be at 8 o'clock, and that will push across during the afternoon and evening. So how does it start out? Here's noon to 6 p.m. tonight. This is just the snowfall. There will be some rain potentially falling here, but the snow, you can see, it's pretty limited. Very high elevations, and mostly focused on areas west of the Stanley Basin and the Wood River Valley. Then later on, after 6 p.m., you can see it does start to expand and spread and reach lower elevations. But you can see not much is happening in the south here at all, with the exception of a few locations here in the very late night hours in the extreme southeast Idaho. Here's the temperature forecast for today. Pretty mild at 72 degrees in downtown Pocatello. One of the warmer locations, even Stanley, getting to 55. And then overnight tonight, you can see temperatures, especially in the central Idaho mountains, will plunge. 24 in Stanley, but still, especially with the winds kind of active and cloud cover, you can see it stays pretty mild in the Snake River Plain in the middle 30s to middle 40s. All right, so here's the cold front plunging through here on Tuesday morning. This will also trigger some thunderstorm activity. So here we go. On Tuesday, here's the snow during the day. starting in the morning and then in the afternoon. You can see that cold air moves through, and it's not quite as limited as it was the previous afternoon. That is this afternoon, Monday. And then overnight, you can see it does start to fade. Less than an inch pretty much everywhere for both of these periods. So it's really not amounting to much as it sort of fizzles out here on Tuesday night. So here's the overall storm total chance of more 6 inches or more accumulating. You could see even in Galena, it's just a 3% chance. Most of the higher chances are well above 9,000 feet here in places like Vienna Mine Summit. A very limited area here over the Tetons as well. Just not a solid chance of that. Now here's the total snow accumulation expected, where the warmer yellows and oranges indicate 6 or more inches. You can see it's very limited, very high elevations, and most of it will be from 1 to 4 or 5 inches at most. And again, these darker colors just indicate how high you have to go before you get what I would consider significant snow over 3 inches. Okay, so the biggest player with the storm will be the wind. So here's the wind. It really starts generating in the afternoon. You can see here in the late afternoon, it gets a lot stronger. We even have some 35 to 40 mile an hour winds potential here over the Arco Desert. And you can see that's where the main focus is. The wind does continue into the evening. Here are the maximum wind gusts for all during the day and into the evening. You can see there are some gusts potentially exceeding 50 miles an hour. So, but most of them will be over between 30 and 40 miles an hour, and then 40 to 45 here over the Arco Desert. Even in Idaho Falls, it gets really close, with Idaho Falls expecting a maximum wind gust all day into the evening of 39 miles an hour. Okay, there is a risk of thunderstorms. So here it is. For tonight, you can see the 10 to 20% chance is mostly over the western portions of our area. And then it does leak a little bit here into the upper Snake River Plain, mostly over the I-15 and US 20 corridor, also here in Lemhi County. And here's the chance for blowing dust on Tuesday and Tuesday night. You can see it's mostly isolated conditions here, and then maybe areas over here again over the Arco Desert. Here are the temperatures for Tuesday and Tuesday night. So you can see we're a lot colder. Pocatello goes from the 72 the day before to 58. So again, most people dropping 10 to 15 degrees for afternoon highs. Then the lows Tuesday night return to being cold again, and this is when the snow will start to peter out, but the cold air does settle back in. You can see we're not quite as warm in the Snake River Plain. We're down about 5 to 10 degrees. Okay, on Wednesday, there is some morning mixed precipitation, but you can see the high will dominate, especially by the afternoon. So here's the only place we're expecting any sort of snow is in Lemhi County in the extreme northern end. Here's the rainfall. This is the storm total equivalent of if you were to melt all the snow into liquid water, or if it's an all rain event for your area, how much rainfall you will get. You can see widespread is going to be 1/100th to 1/10 of an inch. Again, the limited areas will be the central Idaho mountains, and just a portion of those where it gets to 1/4 to 1/2. And the same thing over here in the upper Snake Highlands. Here's the wind on Wednesday. It's not quite as strong, and it's for a smaller period. Here's 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is the peak wind on Wednesday. You can see it's a little shifted a little bit further south, along with the gusts. And again, some gusts 40 to 45 miles an hour. Here are the temperatures on Wednesday. You can see we're no longer just stuck in the 50s. So we do warm up at least a little bit here, about 3 to 8 degrees. And but we do get colder as skies start to clear on Wednesday night here. And you can see Stanley down to 18, Pocatello Staying about the same at 38, probably because of the elevated winds, which tend to keep things warmer. Here's the thunderstorm risk for, you can see it does shift into the upper Snake Highlands, and the blowing dust risk is a lot further south, more from Atomic City southwards to even into the Pocatello area if we have enough available dust to blow around. That's all I have. If you have any further questions, you can always contact us at this telephone number here, or check out the weather yourself at weather.gov/Pocatello. Thanks for watching.